In today's wrap-up, carrying ID is now mandatory and public in Armenia. A COVID-19 outbreak has occurred in another textile factory in Vanadzor. And Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan has spoken during a session of parliament. Citizens in Armenia will now be required to carry a form of identification when in public. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan announced the new regulation and that those caught without any documentation on them will receive a fine of around $20. The new rule was added due to the difficulties that arose when enforcing anti-epidemic rules with regards to people without any ID. Not wearing a mask will still be considered a separate offence and subject to a fine of $20 as well. 554 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed today, raising the total number of cases to 18,033. 243 recoveries were also reported and 9 more deaths. In other news, kindergartens in Armenia will close as well due to the low levels of attendance caused primarily by the pandemic. Another textile factory in the northern Armenian city of Vanadzor has ceased operating after more than 20 workers tested positive for COVID-19. According to the owner of the factory, all 330 workers will now go into self-quarantine and the factory will close for a period of around 2 weeks. Earlier this month, another textile factory in Vanadzor was forced to shut after 150 workers tested positive for coronavirus. 2 further textile factories in the city of Gyumri had to close after clusters were identified there as well. With the revelation that the textile factories of northern Armenia are a hotbed for the novel coronavirus, many are now calling into question the wisdom of the government decision to allow textile factories to open earlier despite the implementation of a nationwide lockdown. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan spoke at a parliament session today. He drew focus to Armenia's drastic improvement in the 2020 Global Peace Index, which measures the level of peacefulness in the nations of the world. Armenia jumped 19 places and was second best in terms of improvement only to Azerbaijan. Pashinyan stated that his government's new approach to the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict has been a major factor in reducing violence on the line of contact. In other news, members of parliament for the Prosperous Armenia parliamentary faction boycotted the session after their leader, business tycoon and politician Gagik Tsarukyan, was charged and had his parliamentary immunity lifted. Parliament also approved a motion paving the way to his arrest. Tsarukyan has categorically denied all allegations and has called the charges part of a campaign of political persecution. After leaving the parliament session, Tsarukyan was escorted by NSS officers to the NSS building yesterday for further questioning. He is yet to be arrested. And finally, Սիվիլնեթ Stella Mehrabekyan spoke to Haykak Arshamyan, the executive director of the Hayastan All-Armenian Fund, about the Pan-Armenian fundraising campaign that the fund conducted in order to help Armenia tackle the coronavirus epidemic. So far, over $450,000 have been raised by various donations, with the money being used to purchase key medical equipment and protective gear, including 8 ventilators, 75 oxygen concentrators, 3,470 PPE suits, 21,000 gloves, and 12,000 N95 masks.